Governor J.B. Pritzker in Mexico as the Republican chair for Illinois says it's irresponsible. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us here with Illinois in Focus to find more of what's going on in and around Illinois. So how is Illinois' economy faring? Let's just take a look at all of this. You've got the unemployment rate in Illinois has ticked downward, but it's still above the national average. The Illinois Department of Employment Security reported the state's unemployment rate in February was 4.8%. Now that's down from 4.9% in January. But the national unemployment rate is at 4.1%. That ticked upward 0.1%. But Illinois has historically been lagging the rest of the country when it comes to the unemployment rate. Some cases, a full percentage point. And it's one of those deals where you got to ask yourself, what is it? Right? Illinois is like the heart of the country. We've got all 7 Class A railroad systems coming through here. We've got an incredible infrastructure for the highway system. We've got inland ports. We've got we're the crossroads, right? Plus all of the agricultural land. It's we used to be covered by a glacier millions of years ago or whatever. So that has really made this area of the country just a ripe land for agriculture. So there's tons of things going for the states, but why do we always lag the rest of the country when it comes to unemployment? Why do we always lag the rest of the country when it comes to things like GDP? That's another number that was out. Illinois GDP is trailing the national average. So this comes from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, where they say that the Illinois domestic product for the most recent quarter of reporting stood at 1.8%. So we only grew in the last quarter of 2024 by 1.8%. That's more than a half percentage point below the national average. So the national average was 2.4% of growth for the most recent quarter. So other areas around the state are growing faster. I think Missouri's growing faster. You've got Kentucky, that's about the same, but altogether, the national average is growing faster in GDP than the state of Illinois. Something, again, the state of Illinois seems to regularly lag the rest of the country. And you got to ask yourself as to why. So when you see, things like this come up, and this is something that's advancing at the Illinois State House, the question is, how is this going to impact the state's economy? Tipped credit legislation changed, and it could cost the state millions of dollars. So there's been an ongoing debate at the State House of ending the tipped wage. I was a server for 4+ years, actually much longer than that. I started serving at Denny's back in when I was 16, 17 years old. Learned how to make that cash money, being a good server, going and serving people and making sure they got what they needed. And if they appreciated you, they'd give you a fat tip. And it was great if it was cash instead of on a credit card or debit card for reasons we can talk about some other time. But you can make pretty decent money, especially if you work your ranks and you end up at a typical restaurant, but then you go to a nice high-end restaurant that's real super classy, and if you go there and you work the magic, you can make some really, really good money. So tipped servers, they get a lower wage. They have the sub minimum wage as a tipped worker. In Illinois, in Chicago, they changed that. And now servers, or those who worked in the tipped space, they now get at least minimum wage, and it's $15 plus in Chicago. Across the state, though, it's still, we have the sub-minimum wage, but there's a movement to try to change that. So let's go to the story here from the Center Square's Kevin Bessler. Tipped credit legislation changed and could cost the state millions. What's going on here? So legislation to eliminate the tipped credit in Illinois moving through the General Assembly. This is after last year, the attempt to make this happen did not advance. And the sponsor of this measure from last year said that she was going to bring it back this year. Now we see it back, and they're changing exactly what it would do. So before, it would have just phased out the tipped credit for employers who are hiring and employing these servers, and they work and bring food and such. But that didn't advance. So now what they have is House Bill 2982, and the House Executive Committee recently passed this out of committee. Now, what it would do, it would eliminate the state tip credit by 2027. So servers wouldn't be able to work at a place. That place wouldn't be able to get a tip credit. The bill includes a recent amendment to offer a $1.50 tax credit per hour of employee for employers to be able to forego the tipped credits before it's eliminated. So there's 120,000 servers and bartenders across the states, and they work total hours of 180 million hours per year. So Sam Toya, who is the president of the Illinois Restaurant Association, told Kevin Bessler that if everyone used that $150 tax credits, it would cost the state approximately $277 million. Where's the state going to get $277 million to pay restaurateurs so that their servers can not get that tipped wage? And there's a lot of questions about how that could impact the economy. Could it lead to higher prices at a restaurant? Could that compound people's willingness or unwillingness to go out to eat and have that type of service? Will it impact jobs? How's a restaurateur going to be able to maintain business if business is down? Are they going to be able to hire as many servers as they used to? So clearly this is something that's going to continue being debated. And as I said, in Chicago, they've already done this. You've got $15.80 per hour that servers are ultimately making. And when people know that and they see that a burger at a typical restaurant is going to cost $20 some odd, and then you get a drink and it's more, and you know that the server's making at least $15.80, are you going to tip as much? The debate rages on. We'll see if this measure ultimately passes the state house, but go check that story out. Tipped credit legislation could cost state millions of dollars. But some other things that could impact the economy, obviously, regulations, litigation, unemployment insurance costs, workers' comp costs. All of these things in the state of Illinois are already higher than a lot of other states. And then you wrap in the other added business costs of property taxes and how that compounds their ongoing outputs to have to stay afloat. And Illinois has among the highest property taxes in the country. But then you look further, and where's all this coming from? Especially when you look at Illinois being a litigious state, and how a variety of different lawsuits are brought about for going after businesses, for wronging an individual, or workers' compensation costs and such. So Illinois is a very litigious state. Here's another story from the Center Square's Kevin Bessler. A new report out says that lawyers are funneling $1 million to Illinois Democrats in politics. There's a state senator and Senate President Don Harmon there. So a new report highlights that Trial Lawyers Political Action Committee, the Illinois Trial Lawyers Association, spent more than $1 million giving exclusively to Democrats since Election Day on 2022. So the report is called Follow the Money, How Illinois Trial Lawyers Fuel a Lawsuit-Friendly Legislature, compiled by Illinois Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse. According to the executive director, from 2022 through 2025, the Illinois Trial Lawyers Association Political Action Committee contributed to only one side of the aisle. So they only gave to Democrats. And you're talking about $1 million nearly. Some of the top beneficiaries: House Speaker Chris Welch, $80,000. Illinois Senate President Don Harmon, $75,000. And when we reached out to the Illinois Trial Lawyers Association, they didn't immediately return a message seeking comment, but then they later came back and said that they have no comment. So we'll see how that plays out. But clearly, you've got legislators on the Republican side saying that these types of things, the litigious environment impacts the economy in a negative way. So that's just kind of a primer, right? As we see how Illinois is impacted and how, the lack of growing as fast as the rest of the country, the higher than the rest of the country unemployment rate. Our rainy day fund in the state of Illinois is the lowest in the country, and a whole host of other things, from outbound migration, people moving from Illinois to other states. Typically, it's because of the high taxes. All of that impacts the economy, and it doesn't just impact the economy and the availability of jobs. It also impacts the state of Illinois' finances, because they may not be getting as much tax dollars as maybe they could if the state was growing organically. And then you get into the sticky mess of tax credits for some businesses and some industries, while other industries and other businesses aren't getting tax credits. Like the whole divide between, data centers getting tax credits and battery manufacturers getting tax credits, but that small mom and pop shop is still having to pay exorbitant property taxes and the like. So I think that's why you get to a headline like this. The Illinois GOP chair calls governor's trade mission irresponsible. So, of course, the governor is in Mexico with a whole host of people, from state agency directors to leaders in the private sector. So 70 people are on this travel with the governor down to Mexico. So the governor's office said that the trip, which he left yesterday, he'll be back on the 2nd. It's aimed at deepening economic ties and fostering greater cooperation between the state of Illinois and Mexico. You've got others, though, saying it's probably not the best idea. The Republican Party chair, Kathy Salvi for Illinois, said that it's a junket and it's a distraction by the governor to steer people away from looking at the state's high tax burden. She says that here he's leaving to Mexico, seriously, with a lot of heavies in our state, right, on the taxpayer's dime. She went on to say it's irresponsible for the governor to make the trip where he's driving businesses out of Illinois. She lists off Caterpillar, Citadel, Boeing, Tyson Foods, and so on. That's just scratching the surface, she said. Many, many smaller businesses shuttering and families moving out in droves. So all of this, as the economic realities in Illinois start to sit in. All right, it is Illinois in Focus Daily. Go get the headlines like that and so many more at thecentersquare.com, and wake up with us here each and every weekday morning. It is Monday, and we're going to have tons more to talk about all throughout the week, so hopefully you'll join us here with Illinois in Focus Daily with the Center Square.